So, to answer this question while I'm in the middle of jamming to my big areola music, I'm going to explain this to you as simply as I can from the perspective of a person who actually took the CPSC games classes, like many people did or do, before they either graduate or drop out. All video games in existence are puzzle boxes. Every video game, yes, including the walking simulators, are puzzle boxes. Despite all of the intricacies of the Rube Goldberg machine any person who could design into the box puts in there, every video game does not need to have a win-lose condition. The experience of the actual packaged material is the thing that makes it count as a game. The same way that the assortment and the arrangement of moving pictures creates a movie. The same way that the still pictures creates a collage or a collection album of photographs. However, the blanket statement that video games don't need to have a win-lose condition, or player skill, or even combat to count as games, is pushing the notion, if you start from the position of understanding that at some point, and this is a valid point, that you have to draw a line between a video game and the options menu on a DVD. It's funny when someone like David Zemansky of Dusk and all those other games made over at that studio that he works in, then says something like, we need to put a stop to all the people confusing video games and DVD menus because of unclear terminology that's been happening lately. This kind of tongue-in-cheek brouhaha is the reason why people have opinions and discussions in the first place. Because the problem that you're having as a fact of the matter at the end of the day is, when are games art? Are they art? Are they art, comma, now? Are they art now? How about now? How about 10 years after the release? How about when they've been compiled into the formulation of being comparable to a video game, the movie cut? What franchises does that count for? Does it count for the ones that come from the first generation? How about the 7th generation? How about the 9th generation? At the end of the day, every video game is a puzzle box. If you decide to get petty about it, and you want to say things like video games don't need to have these things, and you can still try to discount them as being games, you're just saying words. You're just saying words. And now it's a matter of perspective. All of the words that all these people on this post, some who are recognized figures, some who are individuals that are looking for a way to jump onto the trend because it's trending. All of those people, by all of the definitions of what is effectively engagement forming, the video game, for most people, requires a couple of things. If nothing else, it requires a haptic feedback. If I press a button, something happens. And it cannot just be, I press pause. If one button pausing equals a movie, interactive mediums requires it to then become something more than a walking movie. Then from there, what you decide is a video game is like the same thing as saying, is Flappy Bird a game? Is Flappy Bird a game designed to be enjoyable? And is the structure of making something like Flappy Bird like making something like Heavenly Sword? Is making something like Heavenly Sword the same as Senua's Sacrifice? Is making something like Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice or Hellblade 2 the same as making something like Stellar Blade? How about the First Descendant? How about a World of Warcraft server? How about a World of Warcraft Classic Plus server like Turtle WoW or OctoWoW? How about any retail version of a video game compared to its old version that is now considered history, like pre and post Big Bang MapleStory? How about private server Mabinogai and retail Mabinogai, and so on and so on and so on and so on? Use any game you want. Use any mod, use any Kaizo mod, use any ROM hack that you want. They're all video games at the end of the day. Equally, they are all games. The only thing that isn't equalized is when you've decided to add a window. So, to put that into context, if I make a video game I decide to make an accessibility setting, and all the things that are inside of my accessibility window is no different than a cheat window. If every single part of what I choose to put together, instead of something that looks closer to this, instead looks more like not this, but things like that, or closer to something more comparable to the worst version that you could get from Doom the Dark Ages. And rather than having a window that just allows you to make things easier and harder for yourself, it's only making them easier. That's the break difference between when the game stops being a game and becomes a movie. An interactive experience is a movie game, by every determination that matters. If every single puzzle box is effectively a movie game, then that's the standard we're working with. Anything else is cope. Everything else is cope. Especially when an industry claims that difficulty shouldn't be a part of the video game, because difficulty shouldn't prevent you from being able to access the content. Yes, it should, because that's what player skill was. But hey, remember, the context of the post said, we're removing that from the framework. Having that as a part of the framework makes that into something bad, because video games don't need to have that. They shouldn't have a win-lose condition, but they do. How do I know? Because every video game that you ever play, that you play repetitively, has a win-lose condition. I'll give you a perfect one. I'm playing it on the side right now. Slay the Spire 2. This game has a win-loss condition. It's binary. Either my health is everything up to 1, or it's 0. When my run dies, it's because I run out of health. It's that simple. This run, I lost the game. 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 This one, 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 I lost. Loss, win. Loss, loss, win. Loss, loss, win. Loss, win. Win and another win. There very clearly is a standard for what we can consider to be the point upon which something should have a scenario. But that's not the point of that statement, actually. This is the delineation of a line. If your game doesn't need to have a win-loss ratio or a win-loss condition in order to exist, that's a cozy game. If your game requires player skill, then that's a competitive game. If the game doesn't require competitive skill against another player, but it does against the computer, then those are mechanics. Removal of mechanics, where you say it doesn't need to have that, that makes it into a movie game. If it doesn't need to have combat to count as a game, then you have a puzzle game. You can do puzzles without having the combat. 100%. Hell, you can even have puzzles in the middle of the combat. Hi, Pragmata! But you cannot say what a video game is and what it isn't, because it's whatever the designer wanted it to be. But if you try to say that the genre doesn't exist, because you specifically don't like it, then you have to kick rocks, I'm sorry. It's a very pedantic question, okay? Everybody who's acting this way is being pedantic on purpose, and you know you're purposefully being pedantic. You have to stop it. You gotta shut up. I'm sorry. You've gotta shut up. You have to shut up, and you have to do it now! Okay? Alright then. At the time of this rant, it is 10:11 p.m. on May the 10th. Which technically means it's Mario Day. Actually, it's not. No, that's March. Anyways. Goodbye, everyone. Mwah. Turn my shit on, Jethro.